All right, it's 7 o'clock, and I'd like to call to order this Town of Sheffield Select Board meeting for September 8th, 2025, and to announce that we are being recorded for CTSB, as we're required to announce that as part of the public meeting laws. Our first action of order on the agenda is the approval of meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from August 4th, 2025, August 14th, 2025, August 18th, 2025.
Second. Any discussions? All in favor? Aye. Third on the agenda is the review of executive session minutes and a vote on releasing executive session meeting minutes. This is something we're required to do from time to time, to look back and see when minutes are able to go back out into the public after an issue has typically been resolved.
I'll also make a motion that we accept or release the executive session minutes for September 25th, 2023 and March 14th, 2024.
I can still second that. I wasn't here.
You can second that because we're not approving the minutes, we're actually approving their release.
All right.
All in favor? Aye. Item number 4 is discussion and action regarding some donated equipment from the Sheffield Hose Company. About a year ago, the fire department, or the hose company, was given and acquired a 19-foot Zodiac boat.
So we have Steve here who can talk to.
I got it right here if you would like it. Do you want to introduce yourself up at the podium and share all of your information with us? Thank you.
Up here?
Yes.
And identify yourself first, please.
My name is Stephen Heyer. I'm a member of the Sheffield Fire Department and Volunteer Hose Company number 1. I'll just read this. About a year ago, the hose company acquired a 19-foot inflatable Zodiac boat, 20 horsepower, 4-stroke Mercury outboard motor, and a trailer. By acquired, I mean we bought it. It had been originally used by the fire department of Nahant, Massachusetts. It's red as a rescue boat, and we will be putting it to the same purpose in Sheffield. We bought the boat, motor, and trailer from a Great Barrington person who had purchased it for non-fire. He was using it up at Stockbridge Bowl with his kids. And then he found, I think, that he didn't use it much, so he sold it to him. The host company members have voted in favor of donating the whole kit to the Sheffield Fire Department as equipment to be registered and insured by the town. I believe we have all the documents necessary to make this happen. A Massachusetts title for the boat itself, signed and dated by the Great Barrington person, but with the transferee's name left blank. A bill of sale for the 20-horse Mercury outboard, signed by the Great Barrington person, but with the buyer's name left blank. And the Great Barrington previous owner's Massachusetts registration for the trailer. I have all the paperwork here.
So the hope in this is that we would bring it into the town and put it through our insurance policy, right?
Yes, and to get a blue plate for the trailer, which I don't think we can do. At the hose company, I don't think can do that. And the registration of the boat is pretty straightforward, but it's not the RMV, it's the Massachusetts Environmental Police in Springfield. And the motor just needs to be mentioned on the registration of the boat. It has no registration or title of its own. So here it is. And this we do.
I think this is a very official ceremony.
Yeah, and a title for the boat. The last registration for the trailer. These are the only 2 documents we really need for the purposes of registering the trailer and registering the boat. We might need a bill of sale, and we have a bill of sale that's blank as far as who's buying it. This is the bill of sale from Nahant to the previous owner, which you don't need.
No.
Yeah.
And here's one for the purposes of getting the warranty for the motor. Tony Ballou, also a firefighter, signed it. So there's two bills of sale for that motor. I mean, this, and I read the warranty for the motor, and specifically excludes commercial use and rescue use. So it doesn't have warranty anyway. So, on the other hand, it only has like 30 hours.
Yeah.
So it looks like we have everything.
I think you have everything. And if you don't, and here's a registration and title application, and for the boat and the motor.
So it sounds like the only thing we're looking for is a motion to move this forward.
We need a motion to accept
The donation of the equipment.
And Joe mentioned,
and then
which I think,
And more discipline.
deal.
I think we paid $4,500, so they'll all say which of us deals.
So do you want to explain why the hose company and the fire department, the differences in why, or?
Yeah.
I can try and see if I can put it right. The hose company owns the building over there, but all the pieces of equipment is owned by the town of Sheffield. For insurance purposes, liability, replacement, all of that stuff, it runs through the town's insurance. So when they have a piece of equipment like this, they've done it in the past. They've donated it back to the town so that we can get it under our list of owned equipment and make sure that it's protected properly. Is that?
Pretty much sums it up. I just wanted to make sure people understood. The
there's a
hose
difference.
company is a nonprofit and owns the building, and the fire department is technically the equipment and the town, so.
That's for 75 years.
And the
So is-
firefighters.
And the firefighters, correct. So I'll make a motion that we accept the donation from hose company, Sheffield Hose Company #1, and that just make the, yeah.
Take care of all of the
Take care of the
administrative
paperwork of the fire department side.
Sure.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Item number 5 is that we have a,
Thank you.
Okay.
I was saying, how does it go? We're going to deal with
Yeah.
yeah, our little, child, no, we're not. It's not.
No, this boat is much more professional
the
than
picture?
it. Yep, I have.
Should have bought a picture. I think going to the registrar fee for the trailer, you can deal with that, right?
yeah.
Yeah, going to Springfield, I've offered to go to Springfield, I'd rather not, but, because that's the only place to go to a registered boat. So,
So we may be asking you or someone in the fire department to maybe run the paperwork down. The chief usually, once we get all the paperwork done, he usually handles the Pittsfield registry for us. But we'll work that out. But it probably won't be this week. It'll be next week when we workshop it to get it done.
hopefully.
But there's a lot of rain coming, so we might just go straight to. Thank you very much.
Okay.
You're all set?
Okay.
Thank you.
Item number 5 is that we have someone requesting to get married at the Upper Sheffield Covered Bridge on Halloween, apparently, at around noon. I'm not going to comment on the date, but it looks like they're going to have about 12 guests. It's a very quiet ceremony with no alcohol or chairs and just a small speaker for the wedding music for coming down, I guess, the pathway since there's no aisle. I don't know if anyone has any thoughts or concerns about this or would like to make a motion to allow it.
I don't see an issue with it, so I'll make a motion to allow the wedding ceremony at the covered bridge on Halloween.
I'll second that.
All right. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And next up, we have an appointment, several appointments actually. The first one being an appointment to the Conservation Commission by Cheryl Blackburn. We mentioned this at our last meeting, and I believe she was an alternate before
She
this,
was.
right? And she's moving into a position on the commission. And I would like a motion to bring her in for one vacancy for a 3-year term.
I'll make a motion to appoint Cheryl Blackburn for the one vacancy on the Conservation Commission.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next up, we have Nathaniel Sermony, who up until now, I believe, has been a part-time officer for
No,
us.
he's been full-time, but he was on a year's probation.
There's a year's probation. For some reason, his note says something about being part-time, but, and are we looking at, and this is yearly, or do we, is this a 3-year?
This would be a full 3-year appointment, but we would put it in line with the other officers to expire in whatever year in June.
Okay.
June.
So I'll make a motion that we appoint Nathaniel Sermony as a full-time officer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next up, we have a couple of announcements of people. James Kelly has put himself forward again for the Agricultural Commission, and I believe that's for a full 3-year term. And Ben Webb, I believe, has sent in a letter as well for the Housing Commission, which also has, both of these have additional vacancies too, if anyone should be so interested in joining them. And we're just making an announcement of their nomination today, and we will consider them at our next meeting. Item number 8 is an appointment action regarding an alternate delegate to the Berkshire Planning Regional Commission. And I believe that our very own Patrick Silk has put himself forward for this.
Yep.
And I would be happy to make a motion to appoint Patrick Silk to the Berkshire Regional Planning Commission as an alternate.
I'll second that.
All right. Any discussion? Hopefully none from you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any recusals or abstentions?
Do I recuse? Because that's me.
I don't really know.
You know,
Yeah, all right. Next up, we have a proposed zoning bylaw that's coming before us. And this is relating to the storage of heavy equipment in all zoning districts. Do you want to give us a little history on what's happening with the?
sure. So our current zoning bylaw states that in the rural district, storage or placement of vehicles visible from a public highway or adjacent properties shall not be allowed. The planning board is proposing to revise this language to apply townwide across all zoning districts. So it would say, in all zoning districts, storage or placement of heavy vehicles associated with construction businesses that are visible from a public highway or adjacent property shall not be allowed. They are aiming to establish consistent visibility and standards across all zoning districts.
Any thoughts or discussion about this? I know no one is here from the committee, and I think that even before we would take any action on this, we would probably rather invite them to come and share some of their thoughts, but we might have some.
Well, I definitely had plenty of thoughts on it, and none of them are positive. I can assure you that. I actually take quite a bit of offense to this personally, being a farmer and operating a lot of equipment. I know I'm exempt because of the right to farm law, and the reason for the right to farm law was based on we saw overregulation in zoning as a possible problem. I don't think Sheffield has ever been ashamed of their working class roots, and to me, this is making working class people something that you need to shelter behind fences and shrubs and buildings. I don't particularly, I mean,
And across even the commercial district.
I
as well.
understand the rural side of it, but when it's in the general business, general business should be for general business and shouldn't need to have everything sheltered in it. I mean, I'm not ashamed of a construction company. I think, and personally, I don't think we've ever had any construction businesses where we had to say anything because they, were a blight on our town. I mean,
Well, we would have, if somebody was maintaining a space in an unsafe way, or we probably have some regulation managing some components of that anyway, right? Now,
probably not.
I guess I would love a further understanding of what their attempt is in this, what their feedback has been and where they were aiming. It also, out of sight is a little bit confusing when it also says to the properties contiguous to it, because I'm not even sure how you manage that.
It could be quite tricky and put quite a burden on a, local business to try to hide everything that they're doing and all their equipment there too. So I don't know, I just feel it's a little bit anti-business and anti-force type thing. So
This may surprise you, but I don't necessarily disagree with you. But what I do think it'd be worthwhile to have them present their thoughts and ideas before we make a decision on it. So I think it would be great to table this to maybe another meeting where Robbie or somebody from the committee would share where they're going on this. And I know that they're working on other topics.
They have a public hearing already scheduled, correct?
I don't think they do.
They haven't scheduled the public hearing
I think
yet.
it said that we intend to hold a public hearing and would appreciate any preliminary thoughts and
Yeah.
feedback from the select board prior to that step. So they're waiting to hear back from me first.
So I think if we could invite them to our next meeting, that would be ideal.
I think
We don't have a motion for that because we're just inviting to interviews. Next up, I'm sorry to announce that we have a resignation from our town hall, although very excited to say that Nicole Robarge, who is resigning, is actually going to work at the school district, so she'll still be working with the town. Nicole gave her notice, and I believe, I can't remember the date she started.
September 4th was her
September
last.
4th was her last day. I think it'd be nice for us to send a note thanking her for her service and wishing her luck in her new role at the school.
So I'll make a motion that we accept her resignation and offer a letter of thanks for services rendered.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next up, we have a rather extensive collection of alcohol permits from Dewey Hall. I'll try to read all of the dates if I can make sense out of the paperwork.
Can you just take the first two first? And the reason I'm asking you to separate those 2 out is one's tomorrow and then one is the following day. But we don't have a insurance certificate on file.
Oh, I spoke to them this, I know that they did get a new,
We don't have a
Did they not
copy
receive
of
it?
it. So I'm not sure that we can allow them to do anything.
Okay.
Unless we have that in hand before we close.
should we make a motion that we
We could approve them pending insurance certification.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. And if you want to do them all at once and do that, that's fine too. But I wanted to bring the top 2 just to your attention because they're tomorrow and the
Yeah.
following.
I think we could just do them all pending certification, and if they don't have certification, each one goes off cost until
Okay.
certification is here.
Alright.
All right.
Do we need dates on those right now? Just a second? Or is that a motion, Bob?
You want to read your
Do
name?
you want me to read the dates?
I think-
September 9th, September 10th, September 20th, October 8th, November 12th, December 10th. That's thinking good. And can you see? That's all of them. There's a duplicate of a couple of.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the one-day alcohol permits for the previously listed dates.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We have our, what seems to be becoming increasingly regular bridge inspection reports to go through. I find these to be about the most confusing thing to read on earth, but it looks like when it comes to the Kelsey Road and Kellogg Road bridges, the reports don't have anything surprising and new to us as far as I could tell.
No, they're all in very good condition. It's all very good. And these were done by the diver. You want to go
This
and
is-
talk about that?
These inspections are water level down. So this would be anything that is in the water, as in footings or abutments. It's kind of interesting the way some of these inspections are done, because sometimes they're inspecting just the abutments, sometimes we get the abutments and the deck, sometimes we get them separately. This one is below the water line that was done by divers.
Which explains why Kellogg Road Bridge is fine.
Right.
Because otherwise
Well,
it would
with
be,
the
it would be
repairs,
improved, right?
it's
It would be
okay.
repaired, but it would probably still have some.
Oh, it would still have some defects in the deck and stuff, but, so those two bridges below the water line are in good shape.
So that's exciting news for us. Item number 13. Yes, George.
George O'Lane. I was wondering if I could get a copy of the Kelsey Road Bridge inspection.
I think you can have mine. Let me find it for you.
It goes through my property.
How about if I give you both, because they're connected together? You'll have interesting reading tonight.
I could.
And if you can interpret them, maybe you can come to our next meeting and explain to me their numeric system. The state has issued, through the Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission, some changes on how we could allow businesses with on-premises wine and malt beverages to trade in their license for an all-alcoholic beverage license. But we're actually probably not thinking that this is going to be too relevant to any of the businesses within our town at the present moment, right?
So what it means is they'll allow people to trade or upgrade or trade their license, I guess, from a wine and malt license to an all alcohol beverage license, but it then becomes non-transferable. So if the business closes, then the license is closed out with it. I believe that a lot of license holders find value in having that license when they're going to sell their business. Plus, it requires an awful lot of paperwork if you read down through all the MGL sections and what we have to do in order to allow this. I suggest that we just pass on it at this point and revisit it again. We only have two on-premise beer and wine licenses at this point. And one is a business that also holds an all-alcoholic license in another building. So I don't see it as a big issue for some of our license holders.
And we also have full, and we don't have all of our spots full either, so it's
No,
not like
we
we're
haven't reached all
waiting
of our
and holding.
quotas, correct.
And I'm not sure we want to take on that liability and decision-making anyway, even if it was allowed. I think businesses would be better served to go to the alcoholic board and get a full license that is transferable. So, yeah, I don't see any benefit to us at this point.
All right, great. Patrick, any thoughts?
No, nothing on that one.
All right, that brings us to item 14, which are board member items. Does anyone have anything they'd like to share?
Other than the Sheffield Fair was very nice up until the storm. Everybody kind of muddled through and there was no injuries or anything, so that was a nice, but it was an interesting fair, cut a little bit short, so.
Also probably tested everyone's knowledge of what they should do when there's a weather warning, and maybe that's something we should all review. Right?
And unfortunately, when you have a tornado warning or possible tornado warning, and you're in an area where you don't have too many options, there's no basements over at Sheffield Park. So You have to rely on your second and third best options.
I just did a New York Times survey on emergency situations. And the second space is someplace windowless, and third place is a ditch, and the fourth is getting somewhere else, basically. Patrick, anything?
No?
I just have one thing. I just want to put out there that we're going to hold an open meeting law training on September 25th at 6 o'clock at the Senior Center. All boards, committee members, commission members, employees have been notified. We're asking everybody to RSVP so we know how many people are coming. And the training is going to be conducted by KP Law.
I can recommend, given some situations we've had with a number of committees in the last month, and a little bit more scrutiny happening around the state, it seems, around open meeting laws. If people could encourage their committees to attend and certainly their chairs, that would be ideal. It's always useful to have a refresher course and learn things like making sure that you announce that you are recorded so that somebody doesn't record you. Are there any public comments at this time? Pat?
At living 261 East Main Street, or what's still there after a tree parked itself in the yard. First of all, I want to congratulate Renee Wood for the outstanding job she did in pulling the fair together, and it was a great success, as Bob said, until like 2 o'clock. Which brings me to the second point, which is, and I've talked to Eric Munson about this, we need to establish a clear protocol on how we proceed when this sort of thing happens. I'm glad we're not going to any funerals today, but we could have been. I mean, you were completely unprotected in that pavilion. So he and I are certainly willing to work on a protocol for the town's approval on how we handle that situation, which most likely will involve canceling events prior to their even starting. I mean, that may be a recommendation if this kind of weather prediction is standing. But we lucked out, and I'm sorry, that's exactly what it was, luck, because there was no option.
Was there an advance warning of this? I was in Connecticut, so I wasn't.
Just
Just
a half hour.
half an hour, that's
About the time the thunderstorms were starting,
Yeah.
they had some circulation that is reporting, but we had no touchdown here. So,
A lot of trees down all around.
A lot
So
of
exactly what was
damage.
happening.
I've got that touchdown. That you can see the top of the tree is all missing.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I know Holden out near Worcester had a F0 tornado, but that's quite a ways from us, so.
Yeah, but nonetheless, in talking with Chief Bunsen, he said, was there no siren? And I said, nobody there heard the siren. There was a faint siren maybe, and he was very surprised at that. So he and I would like to work on developing a protocol that we could present, and others are certainly welcome to join that effort, that we could present to the town to see whether or not it would be acceptable in moving forward, just to...
A reminder of safety protocol for the storms period might be a helpful thing in the Sheffield Times.
Yeah.
Because we all had these, I grew up in the Midwest where we had tornado warnings all of the time.
Me too.
But it's been a few years since I was in kindergarten and fourth grade. So maybe it's not a bad reminder for all of us of where we should be. And also to remember you can access your phones and other things for information if you are facing a situation that takes you by surprise and you don't know what to do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Any other comments? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.